Good evening, residents of Everett, Washington. I would like to call to order the Everett City Council meeting on November 19th, 2025. For information on council meetings and how to participate, please visit everettwa.gov/citycouncil. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Franklin.
Excused.
Councilmember Bader.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan. Here. Councilmember Vogely. Here. Councilmember Fosse. Here. Councilmember Tui. Here. Vice President Zarlingo.
Here.
President Schwab.
Here. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilmember Tui to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And this time I'd like to ask Vice President Zarlingo to read the land acknowledgement.
Gladly. This council acknowledges the original inhabitants of this place, the Stohopes people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they've hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection to the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
Thank you. On to old business. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for November 12th, 2025?
Councilmember Ryan, so moves.
Second.
Motion and second's been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan. Yes. Councilmember Vogely. Yes. Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Well, now it's time for public comment, which includes written comment. Acknowledgement under our rules, written comments shall be considered in the same manner as oral comments. Persons submitting comments must provide their name and city of residence to make the council official records. So good evening, Angie. Do we have any written comments or public comments?
Good evening, President Schwab. We do have some written comments. We received the following from regarding downtown Everett Improvement District renewal from Alexander Building, Apex Everett, Blue Steel, Botesh, Nash and Hall, Bright City, Burkett's, Cassandra's Closet, Colby Diner, Courtyard by Marriott, Funko, Heritage Bank, Hoban Family Office, Housing Hope, Imagine Children's Museum, Kells, Ratepayer Advisory Council, Screen Printing Northwest, Scottle Real Estate, Skyline Insurance Group, Sobar, Williams Investment, 1418 Hewitt LLC, 2812 Architecture. And we received one comment from John Martin regarding Outdoor Event Center, and these were all provided to council, legal, city clerk, and administration to be part of the record. And I don't believe I have any public commenters here.
Okay. Is there anyone here in the chambers wish to speak this time? Okay, hear none, we'll move to council comments and we'll begin with Councilmember Bader.
Thanks, Council President. Last night I attended the Everett Public Library Board of Trustees meeting. Some fascinating information as they move forward with their strategic plan process. And I think Abby and probably the head of the library board will be here sometime in the next month or two to give us probably more detail about how the library is going. Strategic plan, we had a short piece of bit of information, a write-up about it, which I'm happy to provide to my colleagues if you're interested, but talking about things like make high-impact, low-cost modifications to the main library's configuration, clarify the library's role in social services, strengthen outreach services, rebuild marketing and communications. So anyhow, very, very fascinating plan and great work, I think, on the part of the consultants who hired, but I think they're putting on the finishing touches as well. And then also, thanks to the estate of Kathy Elkington bequest, the library is moving forward on reupholstering the chairs in the main downtown library. So a great project. I think it'll be happening over December if I got my dates right. So it'll provide a nice fresh look for the library. I think some of those chairs, actually, I think our library director, Abby, said that some of those chairs actually are as old as the library itself, and the remainder were probably purchased about 30 years ago when the library was remodeled. But it'll look good. And some of those chairs, look really, they're solid wood chairs, so they look good, and the reupholstering will make them look nice. And they're using great materials, for the library setting for that reupholstering. So appropriate for that. That'll make those chairs even better to sit in. So anyhow, that's it for the high points from the library board, and that's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This Monday, I joined the Port Gardner Neighborhood Association meeting to provide an update. And at the meeting, we heard that Vice Chair Jean Sadie Hewitt will be stepping down from her long tenure as Vice Chair for the Neighborhood Association. For a long time, she's been deeply involved behind the scenes to organize neighborhood meetings, holiday parties, holiday light contests, and she brings the best treats to meetings. I really love her lemon bars, and I'm going to miss them dearly. So thank you, Jean, for your years of service. With Jean stepping down at Port Gardner, Dwayne moving out of this side of the state for Lowell, Ernie and George and Valley View looking for replacements. Quite a few of the neighborhood associations that I attend are in need of new leaders to step into these positions. So I'd ask Everett residents to consider joining their own neighborhood association and stepping up into a leadership role. Volunteering is a great way to get involved and create community with your neighbors. And getting involved doesn't mean that we have to do it all, but it does mean that we can all do some. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vogely.
Good evening. Sounds like the air just turned off. You're welcome. No, let's see. Yesterday I was at the Parks Board meeting and I just have to mention that was somebody's birthday and so they missed it, but I'll allow it. No, I'm not going to tell you who, because who knows? Maybe they don't want you to know. Let's see. We had a big, long, I didn't write, I wrote it all down, but I didn't write the right notes. So golf, as you know, we have 2 golf courses and they're both doing really well. And I know that when I started and as I continue, people in the community are either very much in support of golf or very much not in support of golf. And a while ago, golfing was not going well, like in the city of Everett, but since COVID, it has been doing smashingly. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that. And it's an enterprise fund, so it's not part of the general budget. And something that I learned, and maybe I knew it already, but it was brought to my attention again, is that some of the FTEs, because golf is doing so well as an enterprise fund, a couple parts of the full-time equivalents have switched. The people that work in golf and parks, some of it has switched over to, Jennifer, I'm sure, will be able to help me just say what I'm trying to say because she's nodding at me like she knows exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm doing a horrible job of explaining it.
Well,
Would you?
I don't know that I can, but it's part of, it's in your budget document too, kind of
Yes.
that FTE split and where they're assigned, whether they're assigned like just to golf or to facilities in general and how things have shifted.
So to save a little money in the general government, golf and the
Pay for it,
enterprise fund
Facilities,
can
maybe more
shift
than it
some
used to
stuff
be.
around.
Yeah.
So thank you. And sorry that was a bunch of word salad. We're doing well. Let's see. And because the new Wiggum's Hollow Park was burnt to a meltingly gross crisp, there's the reminder that Everett has Everett works with the Everett School District, and so Eisenhower, Emerson, Garfield, Hawthorne, Jefferson, Lowell, View Ridge, Madison, Monroe, and Whittier schools are available for the public when school is not in session. So be aware of that. And then I met today with Chris Collier from Alliance for Housing Affordability. And we'll be having our meeting on December 3rd, but with everybody in the Alliance. But I just wanted to bring forward that the continuum of care funding is being cut at the federal level. And so HUD is essentially changing up their criteria in order to get the $3.2 billion in grants. And that's going to be really trying as we move forward in this country and in this city and in this county. So I'm sure people that staff is aware, but they will be more aware, and I think the community will be hearing about that too. So essentially, a lot of the money for permanent supportive housing is being cut and will be going towards transitional housing. And there's a lot of stuff to know about that. Just know that it's terrible. And applications will be due January 14th. And tomorrow morning at 8 is the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting so I hope to see you all there. But I probably won't. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fosse.
No questions or comments tonight.
Councilmember Tui. Okay, Councilmember Zarlingo.
Well, I guess I'll make up for some of that. It's been a busy week of meetings. Just today, congratulations to Wendy Pushback and the reconstituted and revitalized Everett Chamber, continuing rapid growth. She mentioned 12. Now I heard later in the day it's 13 new members this month, 226 members overall. Today's event at Apex, which is another victory for Everett, was sold out. I could see a real sense of building community there. Tyler was there. Jennifer Bergerson was there. In addition to greetings of familiar faces, I saw a lot of new introductions and potential connections, which is one of the purposes of the chamber. The speaker was Airport Director Josh Marcy for Payne Field, reviewing their 20-year master plan with plans to handle different scenarios depending on how, especially passenger service evolves, though it's a big general aviation airport as well. For people interested in that growth, there seems to be a potential inflection point that they're expecting growth at about the 2030 date overflow, or sometimes they call it leakage from SeaTac. That may create more of a critical mass as more gates are opened there and more flights. The focus will still remain domestic flights with potentially flights to Canada. One other thing for there that's important to our community here, they're looking to get possession of the Air National Guard property. Hasn't been used in a lot of years. Good candidate for industrial development. And then if you're interested in that stuff in detail, you can use your favorite search engine and search on the Payne Field Master Plan. You might choose the executive summary foldout because the master plan, just the executive summary of it, is 25 pages. Also attended yesterday the Snohomish County Regional Law and Justice Council, continued discussion of participatory justice. We heard this time from both the public defense angle and the law enforcement angle. Presentation by Snohomish County Sheriff. They're wrapping together their work with the courts and prosecutors. There is more connection and integration that I had appreciated in these teams. And as usual, there are difficulties in navigation and service gaps in that. The public defenders mentioned handling about 10,000 cases per year, noted that almost all of these folks will be coming back into our communities, so it's in our interest to make their reentry successful. I also participated in the Snohomish County Tomorrow's Exploratory Committee. So this is a subcommittee of Snohomish County Tomorrow where I represent Everett as well. Some of that will evolve a little more and get presented in their General Assembly in December. So I'll probably talk about that in January. And then the last thing was the Puget Sound Regional Council's Transportation Policy Board, where I represent Everett. It's the companion to the Growth Management Policy Board that Councilmember Beta reported on last week. Primarily now it's further development of the regional transportation plan, something that PSRC and the members update every 4 years. They'll be soon releasing a draft plan for public comment and focusing on the regional transportation plan financial strategy, since this is many, many billions of ours and from the federal government, and it needs to be planned region-wide and well in advance. And then lastly, got a briefing at that meeting from on state policy and transportation by the chair of the House Transportation Committee, Jake Fye, and he had some interesting things to say about efforts to try to speed up these major projects and the difficulties we have in getting enough contractors and skilled labor. That was it.
Okay, thank you very much. On to administrative report. Jennifer, good evening. Do we have something to report?
We do. We have two things. So first, I have next to me Wally Webster from the Access Project. You can start the share screen. He partners with our police department to provide new pathways for justice-involved youth, and he has a short little PowerPoint that I will maybe help him get opened up. I think if we do this, go back to Zoom. Is it over here? Yeah. There we go. This guy, right? Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then we'll just do this, and then you're ready to go.
Thank you very much. To the Honorable Schwab and members of the council, my name is Wally Webster, President and founder of the Access Project. We're housed in Linwood city limits, just on the Linwood Event Center property. I'm appearing before you tonight through you to recognize and thank the amazing leadership and officers of your outstanding police department for the collaboration with the Access Project to refer youth who are experiencing mental health and behavioral challenges. First, allow me to give you just a quick overview of the Access Project. Our mission is to interdict the mental behavior and challenges that our youth are facing and experiencing before they make decisions that are life-altering. Oops, going the wrong way. The Access Project was started early in 2023, and we take youth who are between ages, our target is between youth who are between 13 and 17. And we target that group because they can come to us and request help without parental consent. And there are situations where they don't want their family members to know that they're seeking help, domestic violence, sexual abuse, and those kinds of things. The Access Project has three main components. One is we take referrals in, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And the second one is that we do assessments, and that may take 2 or 3 interviews before we can assess the root causes of that problem that youth is experiencing. Then we connect that youth with a community service that provides services that that help that youth resolve the issues that they're experiencing. This is just a quick overview of the kinds of issues that we have seen and worked with youth in the last 2 years. I won't take a lot of time there, but you can just see the kinds of youth root causes that youth are referred to us. But I'm here tonight to really let you know that the amazing work that your police department is doing to help youth in our community. And I do want to express my deepest appreciation to Chief DeRossi and Lieutenant Carr. Their creative and innovative way of referring youth to us have been amazing. For an example, in the first week we started working with the police department, they referred 7 youth to us in 1 week that they felt would better get services from us than from going into the juvenile justice system. One way that they're referring to us youth is through a electronic form that's on the police car, in the police cars and on their computers, that they complete this form. And then when they hit submit, it comes directly to the Access Project. And we pledged, and so far we've been able to uphold this pledge, that we will contact that youth and or their families within 24 hours of the referral and start the process of interviewing them. The reason that this form is so amazing is that we went and introduced it to other police departments. And they said, it will take us 2 years to get this form on our laptops and in our police possessions. Will you take and put it on your website so that you can, so we can, and so we created a hyperlink and we created a QR code. So there are police officers in Linwood, now in Edmonds, that can click on that link and have this form in front of them, complete this form and send it to us. This all came out of the creativeness and the innovativeness of the Everett Police Department. So I just want to thank them for making it easy for us to contact youth who are having serious, serious mental health challenges. I'll just talk a little bit about another program that we use is the Peer Mediators Program. The Peer Mediators Program, we started in Everett School District. Last year, we had 4 high schools in Edmond School District and 1 high school in Everett School District, which is Jackson High School in Mill Creek. They came back to us for this year and asked us if we would be willing to take all of the high schools in Edmond School District, all 7, and then go and take the 4 middle schools in the district and give them peer-to-peer mediation, because we were so successful in having these youth solve the problems of their peers before they escalated into catastrophic events. So this year, we've already started training, and we'll be training every school district, every high school and every middle school in the Edmond School District, as well as Jackson High in Everett, to enhance their mediation. To do that, we partner with the VOA Dispute Resolution Center to form that partnership, and they have expert mediators to come and help us to deliver that training. Some of our key partners that we work with on a regular basis is in front of you right there. You can see the school districts. We help them manage the youth who are having, provide service for the youth who are having difficulties. And even those that drop out, we go and reach them, get them enrolled in the e-learning classes, the e-learning academy, and then give them tutors to help them keep pace with their schools, with their student peers. And I'm trying to speed up because I know I only have a few minutes, but that's the Access Project. And again, the most important thing is to reach these youth before they hurt themselves, hurt somebody else, or commit crimes that they have to go into the criminal justice system. And the best place to do that is to get them before they act out as opposed to after. So that's what we are set up for. That's what we're trying to do. And again, the Everett Police Department has been so gracious and so helpful in creating these new ideas for us to be able to reach youth throughout this county. So I just wanted to come and say to you, thank you for the leadership. Thank you for the leadership that you have selected to guide this department and be as community-oriented and especially youth-oriented as they can be. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Right. We have one other item. I sent an email last week to I want to make sure. Okay, good. The screen share stopped. Good. Anyways, I sent an email to council last week with some information about our automated license plate reader cameras, which are provided by Flock. Councilmember Vogely asked if we could share some of that same information and talk about it a little bit more. And so Chief DeRoos is here to take your questions and give a little bit more information about that.
I guess it'll be the police department show here for the beginning of the council meeting. Good evening, council members. I'd like to provide a quick update on our Flock Safety Automated License Plate Reader systems and address a few questions about its purpose, oversight, and safeguards. Rest assured, the Everett Police Department is managing the program with a strong focus on accountability, transparency, and community trust. As you all know, these ALPR devices give officers and detectives timely, reliable information that helps us solve crimes find suspects involved in criminal activity, locate stolen and wanted vehicles, find missing or endangered persons, and enhanced officer and community safety. In the past year, our flock safety system has been instrumental in several serious cases. And I'm going to share a few of them, but they're really the tip of the iceberg on how many successes we've had. Some examples. In our recent homicide investigation, ALPR data helped establish a timeline and pattern of life for the victim, helping guide detectives towards key witnesses and solidifying the criminal case against the suspect. In another case, the system immediately tracked a suspect vehicle and identified a secondary switch car, allowing investigators to connect both cars to a region-wide crime series and identified an organized retail theft group. In another recent case involving a high-dollar package theft, flock data exonerated an innocent rideshare driver who had unknowingly been scheduled to pick up the parcel for the suspect. The vehicle data confirmed the route, the vehicle data confirmed the route history of the driver who was not the suspect, turning what first looked like an evidence of guilt into proof of his innocence. And you're all aware of how flock has impacted our stolen vehicles. We had around 3.5 stolen vehicles a day in 2023 before we implemented our first cameras. And today we have less than 1 a day. While this is a great tool, from the beginning, we recognize that this technology gathers sensitive information, and we built strong controls around its use. Let me discuss a few of them with you. The city of Everett owns its data. We don't share nationwide. We don't share out of state. And in-state agencies must sign a user agreement. And I think we're the first agency in the state to have such a user agreement and the second in the nation. But today, it's the new standard, and it's the best practice across the country. So that agreement is an attestation by the agency that they'll use our system in a legitimate law enforcement way and for law enforcement purposes. Never for civil immigration enforcement, never for healthcare investigations, or to monitor free speech protected activity. These are our policies at Everett PD, and they must follow them if they use our system. We conduct both manual and automated audits of our system. The manual audits were part of our initial policy before our first ALPR camera was installed in Everett. We randomly select system entries, and then we look into how the officers are using the system. More recently, we've created automated audits of our system. The automated audits are unique to Everett PD, and we, I think, are the first department in the nation to use these. Basically, in partnership with IT, we are testing an AI-assisted audit workflow that reviews every search entry. It classifies each lookup through the AI system as acceptable or in need of a review, and highlights unclear reasons for more in-depth review by human eyes. This allows us to identify small errors like incomplete notes before they become bigger issues, increasing both accountability and learning. Recent press stories in Washington have raised questions about flock safety's system in this state, particularly around data access and disclosure. Some agencies have paused their programs while they review their practices and their policies. Here in Everett, we already have these safeguards. Many of those stories are calling for. And we are continuing to develop new and better ways to improve both the use of the system and the guardrails we put in place so it's used correctly. Our policies are posted publicly for transparency, and we update them as state law and public expectations evolve. The takeaway for me is simple. We use this tool carefully, transparently, and for clear public safety benefit. Our ALPR program is not a tool to surveil our community. It is a lead generation, crime fighting, public safety tool governed by policy training, and oversight. It helps us solve crimes, protect victims, and as I mentioned, clear innocent people faster. We'll continue to monitor legal developments and public concerns, but I want you and our community to know we take privacy, accuracy, and accountability as seriously as safety itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You, any questions from council? Councilmember Ryan?
Great, thank you, Chief. That's very reassuring, and I'm glad that Everett's first in the nation or in the state for some good things like that. A concern that I've been having, and maybe it's maybe an IT professional can help walk me through that. Not that you're not an IT professional, but to me, I have faith that our city wants to do the right thing here, but my concern is that outside entities and groups aren't honoring our commitment to privacy of our residents. So how do we make sure that our data, if we're being daisy chained with other local municipalities and counties that are also using Flock who might not have the same standards? I know they sign an agreement that says that they won't use our data for bad, but if their data is being surveilled without their consent and they're daisy chained to us, I'm worried that by proxy, we're also putting ourselves and our residents in a vulnerable position. So I understand that the city has a strong commitment, but my concern is that other outside forces that are greater won't be honoring that. Can you help
Certainly.
walk me through that, please?
Yeah, I'm not an IT professional, so I won't talk to you about, how the information is transmitted electronically or anything else. I will tell you that one of the reasons we developed, and it's a pretty recent development, a way to use AI to audit its use, is that gives us the ability to look at every single search or use of the system, both inside and outside our department, and give us a feel on how another agency might be using the system. And if they're doing things that are mandated by system entries, and I won't go into all the boring details, but let's say they do a incomplete narrative on why they're using the system, we'll flag that it'll let us know, and we'll contact that agency that's using the system. And if they don't correct the behavior, we'll just turn them off. So I think that we live in a world where we could worry to the nth degree, but that's why we created the initial form for other agencies to sign. That's why we're going to hold other agencies accountable as accountable as we hold our officers on using the system correctly. And that if evidence presents itself that it's not being used, then they won't have access to our system.
Thank you. I'm just really glad, that we had the forethought to put these protocols in place before it became a problem. And and thank you for coming here tonight on shortish notice to let the community know. I very much appreciate that. And it's cool that Everett does a lot of firsts. So you just talked about firsts in that respect. We were first to charge for opioids. That's kind of a big deal. What I forgot to mention about the golf course is we made our final debt payment for Legion Park Golf Course. And I don't know, there's something here about being first, and maybe it was premier and that has nothing to do with the police, but the city of Everett is doing a lot of good first things. And so it's a shout out, and I just want to say thank you. And you know how much against I am against these things, but I think that we are doing a good job. So
Yes, ma'am. And your critique and the critique of the community when we were here a year ago talking about the first cameras has really driven me and our department to take an approach that as things evolve or as we come up with ideas on how to better scrutinize how the system is used, we either do something internally like this AI audit system that we're creating, or we partner with Flock Safety and say, hey, we have this ask. I know they've been getting some bad press, but they've been a really good partner in all this. And when we wanted to change, they've helped make those changes, and sometimes almost immediately. So I get the scrutiny, I get the understanding of the worry, but I could have spent all day up here talking to you about all the successes we've had and how it's surgically allowed us to enter certain neighborhoods and take the criminal element out of those neighborhoods, making it safe for the people that live there. And that's really important for all of us as we use that system.
And one more first, thank you, Wally, and Chief DeRoos and being first to figure that out too for
Yeah.
accessibility.
This wasn't by design. I'm glad to see him, but this is.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Zarlingo.
Just one quick question. It sounds to me like one thing that could make this better overall is if there were state standards, kind of a state template for this kind of thing. Do you think that what you've done is potential that way for state legislation? Well, look at our local state legislator.
Well, I think we all know that there's going to be some of this discussion at the state level come January. I always worry about decisions being made by local communities at the state level, because I think each local community has its own needs and requirements. I think we do a good job here, partly with your oversight on managing these systems. I wouldn't want somebody who I don't have time to spend with and explain the nuances of the city of Everett, making decisions on how we use a system like this.
Okay.
But of course, if they pass a law, we'll follow it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the report. Okay. Administrative report complete. Thank you.
Yes.
How about our Deputy City Attorney, Ramsey Rammerman?
Thank you. No comment, but I am going to be asking for an executive session to discuss potential litigation expected to last for 15 minutes based on 4230 110 sub 1 sub I with possible action to follow.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so 9 consent items.
Move to approve the consent items.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion and seconds are made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes, okay, now we have 3 items for public hearing is still open on all 3, and then action items. So first is item number 10, Council Bill 2510-59, third and final reading, adopt an ordinance levying the EMS property taxes for the city of Everett for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2026 on all taxable property, both real and personal, subject to taxation thereon. And Angie, are there any members here to speak?
I haven't received any requests, no.
Okay, do I at this time then, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move the motion.
Second.
Okay, motion and second's been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, and so now the public hearing is closed, and now I do a motion to pass item number 10.
Councilmember.
the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second made to pass item number 10. Is there any questions or comments from council? Okay, seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, moving on to number 11, Council Bill 2510-61, third and final reading, adopt an ordinance levying the regular property taxes for the city of Everett for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2026, on all taxable property, both real and personal, subject to taxation thereon. Angie, do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, we do not.
Hearing none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to approve. Oh, sorry, move to close the public hearing.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Now a motion to approve item number 11.
Councilmember Bader, so moves.
Second the motion.
Motion and seconds been made. Are there any council comments or questions for item number 11? Okay, seeing none. It's going to be a long night. I got a long ways to go, right? Clerk, please take the roll for item 11.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, now we'll move on to item number 12, Council Bill 2510-60, third and final reading, adopt an ordinance appropriating the budget for the city of Everett for the year 2026 in the amount of $943,826,973. Sorry, $828,973. Ooh. Okay, Angie, are there any members from the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, there's not.
Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Councilmember Ryan so moves.
Second.
Okay, motion and seconds been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader,
Just a quick question. If it's 2,000 off, does that come out of Councilmember Schwab's? Yes, approved.
Councilmember
We'll split
Ryan.
it.
Yes. Councilmember Vogely,
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse,
Yes.
Councilmember Tui,
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes, okay, is there a motion to adopt item number 12?
Councilmember Bader moves item number 12.
Councilmember Ryan seconds.
Okay, motion and seconds been made. Are there any questions or comments from council for item number 12? Councilmember Vogel.
I thank you very much. I'm wondering if you could help make the word salad that I had earlier, that Jennifer Gregerson helped me create a better salad, about how sometimes it's optimal to share FTEs between departments, or
Yes.
however I was trying to say it.
I'll start, and Mike, feel free to join in if I if I don't adequately do this, but typically every year we do without exception look at our FTE allocations and determine what percentage of some of our FTE's time should account for from non-general fund dollars. So it's about the time they spend in the non-general fund. For example, in your example, so how much time does some of our park staff spend on golf? And that time is then allocated to the golf budget as opposed to the general fund. But it's really determined by the time that they spend working on our non-general fund programs. Happens a lot in public works with utilities as well. So our FTE count in the budget shows a column, and it shows a couple of 0.3s, 0.2s, and all of that is about accurately representing where our team members are spending their time.
And the only thing I would add to your point was that with a healthy, financially healthy golf course, that enables staff to be able to spend their time there, and because the resources are available in the golf course to provide for strong groundskeeping and whatnot, that again kind of helps improve the playability and just continues that ball rolling. So your point's well taken.
That's all for now. Thank you.
Any other council comments? Councilmember Zarlingo.
Well, just one I thought was worth reiterating after the voters said no to our Measure 1 a year and a half ago with respect to the levy lid lift, there was a discrete choice made to do, if not an official 2-year budget, at least a 2-year plan to try to reduce the changes and avoid the disruption of 2 years of successive cuts that way. And so I did want to make a note that that's what we're doing here, largely in line with what was planned there, so that was more gradual, more linear, more predictable, and that this council is going to be looking to uphold those kinds of principles, to be looking really immediately in the new year, and immediately instead of later in the year at our 2027 budget, and keeping an eye out on an active eye on what the economic conditions are, the revenue situations are, and the spending are, with an eye toward budget amendments that'll make us as healthy as possible, and also with as few surprises and as sudden changes, because we're certainly headed for something like that, with respect to the 2027 budget.
Okay.
Sorry, Councilmember Tui. I saw Councilmember Ryan's hands up.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to thank Mike for jumping on board with us. Really appreciate it. I think I know I really appreciated the time we spent with you last year, and I look forward to our retreat, and hopefully we can get some positive answers for moving forward and working on our deficit. So thank you for coming aboard.
Thank you. I'll do my best.
Councilmember Ryan.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. They've been answered over email or previous meetings or whatnot, but did want to share a statement that each year the budget vote keeps getting more difficult. And it's difficult to sit here and vote, yes, let's make further cuts to our city services, knowing that we're well past bare bones and operations are really difficult. It's also difficult to share with residents at community meetings that we often can't meet their needs because we don't have the funding to be fully staffed or fully fund whatever program would solve their concern. The cuts in this budget aren't any that we want to make. They're choices that were forced on us by the structural budget deficit that's compounded over time. So it's important to me to share with the public that making the budget balance isn't about trimming excess, because there's no excess left to trim and there hasn't been for a decade or so. Many of the programs and cuts over the past few years are cuts to the very services that make our city vibrant and livable. And this continual underfunding or elimination of programs and staff, especially over these last few years, continues to have real impacts to Everett residents. And we should be really honest about that. And also honest about the grief that comes with the loss of these services and the beloved programs. We are a full service city operating with only partial funding. Continued reductions of this magnitude is not sustainable, and they erode the quality of life that attracts the residents and businesses that would want to come here in the first place. So to maintain our designation as a full service city, we need to reconsider reliable revenue options. Otherwise, we need to have the difficult discussion about how we cut our way to a partial service city. And that's not the future that I want for Everett. So I'm hopeful that early this next year, if not sooner, we'll be willing to have clear discussions about ways that we can ask residents to invest in sustainable revenue solutions so that we can halt this cycle of cuts and ideally restore some of the services that Everett residents have lost. I do want to thank staff and Heidi and Jamie Lee if they're watching, which I hope they're having good couch time right now. Thank you for helping us get to this point. Thank you, Mike, so much for jumping in to pinch hit in such a tough time. And thank you to literally every single staff person at the city as well, who's, I know, completely stressed out and working so hard to be civil servants, even though the city's not able to fund them to fully civilly serve. So thank you.
Councilmember Zarlingo.
The comment about revenue reminded me, I did want to mention that this is not, for us, it isn't only about the taxes, it is all about the cuts. It is also wherever we can find revenue. We're certainly going to be assertive and imaginative and persistent in trying to do that. And noting that there are some complications in this, some past budget increases that we've passed, such as in planning and community development, have been made to fix persistent problems that have been limiting economic development, increasing costs and delays. And that kind of thing makes it harder to fix affordability and slows the economic growth that will otherwise help our budget. So that's the kind of mix where things we're working with. And I'm certainly glad to have Mr. Bailey here again with his perspective and his experience with other communities and their positions in this. We'll be working on both angles of this throughout the coming year.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a few more comments. One, I want to thank the staff. I know a lot of you are here tonight. It's not a lot of fun going to work knowing that you have to look at your budget and we have a very dedicated, experienced, educated staff, and they spend a lot of their time reducing the service versus all the innovative and great ideas that you have that you'd like to provide for our city. And so I thank you for hanging in there. Also want to hats off to this group and the mayor. We did take an aggressive move and put a levy lift before the residents, those of you who are watching. Granted, you could say that there could be some criticism that it was too much. There wasn't enough information. There was a lot of somewhat criticism. Obviously, that's why it failed. I think partially is that inflation creeped up on us, and it creeped up on those that call Everett home. And we all have to tighten our belt at home a bit. So knowing that the city was requesting more dollars was really a tough pill to swallow, I think, for a lot of families. I would also say that, And for those of you who are watching or in here in the room, you do spend a lot of time educating yourself. I just want to remind everyone of how many meetings that we've had over the 2 years over this budget. And would just challenge anyone that might be watching here, is that there is a lot of information available on our website on how we've gone through this whole process. We had 12 meetings before we decided to put the levy lid lift on. And I'll echo some of the sentiments here. This budget for 26 really was a planned that started almost immediately after the levy lid lift failed. That's why we haven't made a lot of adjustments here in the last couple of months, because this is something that we've been working on for a while. So moving forward, and I appreciate my colleagues in saying that for most of our opinions, there isn't really much to cut. So this challenge for making a priority on what we provide. A lot of the conversations we've had over the last few years has been really just we talk about full service. And so if the city of Everett is not providing a library, a fire, a transit or police, another junior taxing district or other agency is providing it. And you can examine it. Each one of those options is going to be a higher cost than that service that we provide here in Everett for multiple reasons. So at some point, do we decide as a city that we take these services and have other agencies provide them? It certainly isn't going to be more efficient than what we're doing right now. So I just wanted to, as we go forward, keep those options are always going to be on the table. And I'll just dedicate my next year, and I know that all the members here, and those to come, they're new elected, we're going to be spending a lot of effort and time on this issue. And I know the mayor and the staff are going to already preparing. So I just want to dedicate this group, and we're going to try to stay positive, because Everett is a great city and it's got great people. And I'm confident that we're going to come up with a solution, the best fit that we can come up with. Oh, Councilmember Vogel.
You jog something in my brain.
Uh-oh.
I know, right? Talking about how important the budget is and how we have been focused on it for quite some time since the levy lid lift fail, and also how some of you, especially in the room right now and listening, are involved, but sometimes and the budget is a moral document. And sometimes there are really significant items that come before this body, like, oh, I don't know, the no sit, no lie. And then there's a bunch of people in the room and we talk about it and it's huge. And then everybody leaves and we're talking about the budget. And I just want to remind everybody to stay. Sometimes we're still talking about really important things that are part of our moral fiber, like the budget. Doesn't sound like it, but it is. So just that reminded me that be involved. You all work here. I did see a new person. Thanks for coming. Yeah, you. No, but really help us help you. That's it.
Okay, seeing no comments or questions, we have a motion, a second. So clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse?
Yes.
Councilmember Tui?
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 13. We have Council Bill 2511-66, first reading, adopt an ordinance renewing and expanding the downtown business improvement area for the 2026 through 2030 term. The third and final reading is December 10th, 2025, and I will now open the public hearing. So Angie, is there anyone here to speak in the public about this?
No, there's not.
Okay, and so the public hearing will remain open until December 10th, 2025. Are there any questions from council at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to our next item. The remaining proposed item, item 14, has been read into the record. It's Council Bill 2510-63. Third and final reading will be December 3rd. Are there any questions or comments from council? Item number 14. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 15. Council Bill 2511-64, first reading, adopt an ordinance vacating the remaining alleys in the block bounded by Rockefeller Avenue on the west, Oaks Avenue on the east, Pacific Avenue on the north, and 32nd Street on the south. Third and final reading will be 12/10/25. Are there any comments or questions from council? Item number 15.
I probably could have, yes?
Yes,
may
go
I?
for it. Yes, thank you.
Is that around where the new apartments or something is being built? Like over there, across from the Swift?
Yes, exactly.
To give
Behind the Jackson House.
people and, yeah, Jackson House. Okay. That's all. Could have clicked on the link to see the map, I'm sure, but
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Just to clarify that further, the new apartments that are presently being built are actually a block west of this area, right? Rockefeller. So that would be Wetmore to Rockefeller for the present new apartments that are being built. And then the next block would be where
Yeah,
this is correct.
The street vacation is between
Okay.
Rockefeller and Oaks.
Thank
so
you.
That way, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, on to item number 16. Council Bill 2511-65. First reading, adopt an ordinance creating a special improvement project entitled Animal Shelter Fire Sprinkler Main Distribution Repair. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Are there any comments or questions from council? Okay, we're moving on to item 17. It's Council Bill 2511-67. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled 20th Street CIPP Sewer Lining. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Are there any comments or questions from council? Okay. Moving on to item 18, Council Bill 2511-68. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Third Avenue WQ Treatment. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Are there any questions from council? Okay. Moving on to item number 19, Council Bill 2511-69. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Beverly Lake WQ Retrofit 23. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Are there any council comments or questions? Okay. Item number 20, Council Bill 2511-70. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Evergreen Pump Station Upgrades. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Are there any council comments or questions? Okay, item number 21, Council Bill 2511-71. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Fund 145 Non-Motorized Improvements. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Are there any questions or comments? Okay. Item number 22, Council Bill 2511-72. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Water Filtration Plant Emergency Generator Replacement. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. There is a question from Councilmember Zarlingo.
As usual, with transportation infrastructure, I guess, maybe break up this long stretch, but also to comment about something that is important to all of us. This is emergency generator at our water filtration plant. I have been there. I've seen that generator, one of them. It's a giant thing. And I've lived in this city for decades now. And water has always been available at the tap, with the one exception when they were replacing our water main. It has been just 100% reliable. And I know that comes from effort like this and things that are not maybe as well known or as well as familiar to people as they should be. But those generators are part of what keeps that kind of thing going for not only Everett, but 3/4 of Snohomish County. So appreciation to the work and the forethought of our Public Works Department.
Okay, thank you for the break. Item number 23, Council Bill 2511-73. First reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Water Main Replacement Y. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. I see no questions or comments? I'll go to 24. Council Bill 2511-74, first reading, adopt ordinance creating a special improvement project entitled Wiggins Hollow Playground Repair to accumulate project costs in the amount of $500,000. Third and final reading, 12/10/25. Councilmember Ryan.
Oh, great. I was actually hoping Bob Leonard could maybe come forward and share a little bit more about this. I know, council and the public's familiar with what happened at the playground, but if you could share more about the timeline or just information that would be helpful for the public moving forward, and also the plan for public engagement with the neighborhood, that'd be great.
I'm Bob Leonard, Parks and Facilities. Yeah, so on, what was the date? October 27th, there was a fire at the Wiggums Playground. The Everett Fire Department has been working, doing the investigation, and now we've been partnering with the Everett Police Department to continue that investigation into actually what happened there. The Parks Department's role, we have been, we fenced off the site, secured the site, and we received quotes and to see about trying to get this facility up and running and replaced as fast as we can. So we have received those quotes, and really we're looking to do pretty much just a replacement of what there was there. It isn't that old. So we have just been looking to bring it back to the way it was. It was when it was opened, it was working really well. So we haven't done too much of a community outreach or engagement, just replacing like for like.
That sounds great. Thank you. And thanks for joining us on your birthday.
Yesterday. Yesterday.
Councilmember Bader. Did you want to sing happy
Oh,
birthday?
Councilmember, no,
Okay.
and no one else wants me to sing happy birthday.
Yeah.
Councilmember Ryan asked my
Okay,
same question.
and
Thank you.
Councilmember Mobley.
Can you tell us about insurance and how it's really lame that the cost? And how
Yeah,
that-
we,
why it's lame?
in order to keep premiums down, I believe we have a pretty high deductible. I think in this case, it's about a $500,000 deductible. When we installed this playground, we did it for $800,000. So this playground was not insured, so it wouldn't make sense to be spending $500,000 to replace this when we are replacing it for $500,000. So we don't have those premium costs and therefore no insurance on it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to item number 25, Council Bill 2511-75, first reading, adopt an ordinance closing special improvement project entitled 100th Street Southwest Improvements, third and final reading, 12/10/25. No questions or comments, so we'll move on to item number 26, Council Bill 2511-76, first reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled 2023 Federal Pavement Maintenance Overlay, third and final reading, 12/10/25. On to item number 27, Council Bill 2511-77, third and final, or first reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled California Street Pedestrian and Bicycle Corridor, third and final reading, 12/10/25. Any questions or comments from council? I've seen none. Item number 28, Council Bill 2511-78, first reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Casino Road and Fifth Avenue West Pedestrian Safety Improvements. Final reading, December 12th, 2025. Is there any council comments or questions? Seeing none. We'll go to item 29, Council Bill 2511-79, first reading, adopt an ordinance closing a special improvement project entitled Citywide Innovative Safety, third and final reading, 12/10/25. Seeing no questions or comments, we'll move to item number 30, Council Bill 2511-80, first reading, adopt an ordinance closing special improvement project entitled Citywide Safety Flashing Yellow Arrow Improvements, third and final reading, December 10th, 2025. Councilmember Vogely.
Just a real quick thing, the reason that there are so many of these and we're going so quickly without questions because most of these are closing ordinances. We've already talked them to death and we don't need to do it anymore because they're being closed. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we'll move on to briefing and proposed action item. Council Bill 2511-81, item number 31. First reading, adopt an ordinance approving the appropriations of the 2025 revised City of Everett budget and amending ordinance number 4112-25. Third and final reading will be 12/10/25. Jennifer.
Yes, I will turn it over to these folks who've been anxiously awaiting to present this item to you.
Thank you. Again, Mike Bailey, Interim Finance Director, and we will present this in a rather expedient fashion with your permission. The information that staff has developed and provided in the council packet, I think is a good explanation in each instance of what the need and rationale is for proposed amendment to the current 2025 city budget. So with that being said, I would start by advising the council that since 2024, financial results turned out to be better than anticipated in the original 2025 budget, that even with these amendments, the city's ending financial position for this current year is anticipated to be better than budget. And so we'll have obviously more information about that as the year concludes. But I want to assure the council that from a big picture standpoint, both for all city funds, that inclusive of the amendments that we will take a look at this evening, the city's anticipated to end 2025 in a better position than was predicted originally in the 2025 budget. And I can give you specifics about that if you'd like, but with that being said, if we just kind of walk through these, what I'd like to suggest is that as we step through the presentation, that creates an opportunity for council to ask any questions rather than for me to laboriously go through the details of each of these proposed amendments. Happy to answer any questions you might have or to walk through them if you prefer that approach. So with that, we can move to the first of the proposed amendments. Again, this is an overview of the financial position of the city, and as I said before, leaves the city in a better, more sound financial condition than we originally anticipated and when we put the budget together. On the next slide begins some of the general government proposed amendments, and the first one has to do with interpreter service. The second one has to do with some changes that are needed to be made to our systems in order to comply with the minimum wage verification in business license systems. The third one has to do with implementing an ACH payment process through our claims payment system, rather than having to issue paper checks for every payment that the city makes. We want to implement ACH through our banking system. That requires some investment in our financial systems. The next one has to do with increasing the engineering and public works budget and to address some increased operational costs that weren't anticipated when the original budget was developed. Again, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Question. Oh, yes, thank you.
I was just going to say, I'm trying to go slow, but trying to go
Yeah,
fast.
no,
so
we're
feel
good.
free to jump in.
Yeah, whatever sparks the brain
I
here.
think I heard you say jump in. So finance, positive pay changes and AP direct deposit implementation.
Yes.
Is this one of, I remember going over budgets before, and I'm going to also try to go quickly, but sometimes people say, why don't you just use technology? Why do we have to keep using people? Is this one of, and the answer is, well, we do use technology, but it also, we need people to utilize the technology. Is this one of those things where we can use the technology and we don't need to have a person, like another FTE?
Yes.
Thank you.
Short answer is yes. We're improving the technology for both because it will help be more efficient in terms of the use of the people. And also some of our vendors are now saying they insist on being paid electronically. And so it's both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and as we go through each slide, if council has questions, we'll just jump in. I've got
Please.
a couple here.
Great, that's helpful. Yeah, very much so. I think next is the municipal court interpreter service. Is that right?
No, I think that's where we just were, sorry.
Oh, that's where we were.
Go to the next, there you go.
Okay, so we are being we are using some previously designated dollars for a guardian retreat program, and so this just recognizes this action that was already taken in the city's budget. Same is true of the Local Heroes Grant Award Program, just recognizing something that was previously discussed and approved. And likewise, the American Society of Evidence-Based Policing Conference, same thing. Again, helping provide resources so that we can take advantage of that training. The next one is we're making some adjustments in terms of where some of the dollars are being spent. Again, similar to the discussion about the golf and parks conversation before. So you see that both on the general government side as well as on the non-general government side. So it's moving monies from one fund to another because the activity is being moved from one fund to another. So Quanah's lighting project is again recognizing funds that have been made available for a project that was previously approved. The same is true of the Jetty Island ferry service. Again, recognizing resources that have been made available for a service that was provided, just catching the budget up to that. Likewise with the municipal arts grants, again, just budget recognizing activity that you previously discussed and approved.
Can I jump in?
Sure.
And backtrack a slide if we
Sure.
may? So for Parks and Community Services for Kiwanis Lighting Project, I had given some of my ARPA or my COVID recovery council dollars to that. The last update that I had received was that none of the 21,000 was spent. So I was curious if with this budget amendment, then that will be actualized to being, instead of showing a 0, none of it's been spent. Part of the 40 includes the 21 that I gave.
All right, I am looking at, we may have to get back to you with that.
Oh, Bob standing.
Like,
There you go.
yeah, there were a couple council members that invested in that, and so that might be a piece of it, and
Yep.
yeah, come on up.
Thanks, Bob, for hanging out.
Hey, no problem. Bob Leonard, Parks and Facilities. I stood up really just to say, I'm not exactly sure. We're gonna have to check on that. But I did want to say that I believe that this was just, I think the funding ordinance will be what, the closing funding ordinance or the funding ordinance will be what actually spends the money. But I think this was just catching it up to give it the spending authority.
And I can clarify a little, I found a few more notes on this, which is that it is about what the allocation was for the project, as Bob referenced. And so with the closing ordinance, there may be, a reconciliation of that not all those dollars were spent. But it was supported by the Snohomish County REIT 2 grant funds and council, as you point out, your COVID relief program dollars for the total of 40,000.
I think I'd know by now. There was another COVID allocation from my council dollars for parks as well, that also for septet improvements and graffiti removal. So it still shows 0, but I was just curious if it's just part of the process to go through the budget amendments for it to be allowed, and then it'll be spent.
Reconcile, correct, as the kind of moving that fund from the COVID relief council funds to, in this case, parks, but in other cases,
Just want to make sure it gets spent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just a comment. So some of our code allocations from council, some of it is the authority in here, and some of it's already been spent and we're authorizing it, correct? Transferring, okay, thanks.
Yes, as Lori said, this is the budget catching up to
Yep.
that previous activity. Next is the conference center. Is that the next one? Yeah. So that's again, recognizing the dollars that are necessary for a study that was agreed to be done on the condition of the facility. The next item is recognizing cost increases that are beyond what was anticipated again when the budget was adopted in the maintenance and operational expenses in the street department. Continuing on, we're still in general government, the general fund contributions to CIP1. What this represents is with a better than anticipated ending condition in 2024, the city, as I understand it, and you may be in a better position to explain this, has had a history of when we've ended up in a better position to pre-fund part of the support of the of these expenditures out of the current budget through an amendment. And so this is also reflected in the 2026 budget. So the fact that the pre-funding is being proposed here is consistent with the way the 2026 budget was proposed for the council to consider as well. So that at the end of the day, as I understand it, a full $3 million is available from general government for this purpose.
Councilor Ryan.
Thank you. Just if you could move the mic a little closer. It's
Okay,
hard to hear you.
sure.
Thank you.
Moving on, recognizing some additional administrative costs for CDBG projects. It's a bit of a reconciliation that's occurring there to what's allowed through the CDBG grant funds versus the what the city needs to spend in order to administer those programs. The upgrades to fuel infrastructure. We're going to see this both in general government and non-general government. Some improvements needed to be made. And so some of those apply to general government type activity and some apply to non-general government type activity. So those improvements are being provided for through this proposed budget amendment. The self-insurance, we've talked a bit about insurance and the fact that the city is self-insured up to a pretty significant amount, not unlike other cities for the same reasons. And so recognizing that that's all becoming more expensive, this is an increase in that appropriation to address the challenge that has become more expensive.
Questions are.
Yeah, it sounds to me with respect to, with respect to this in insurance and also in with respect to some of the other expenditures, it sounds like this is along the lines that the city has experienced inflation that's higher than CPI. I mean, we've seen this in public works before, and it sounds to me like that's kind of the trend. The city may be seeing increases 1% or so more than typical CPI.
Yeah, it's certainly in some of the lines of business that we're in, and in this example with workers' comp insurance, is the case here, where the nature of the types of claims are becoming so much more expensive that's certainly true in this case.
Thank you.
And then, lastly, in terms of the general government, it's an accounting, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but a change in accounting standards has caused us to have to recognize the fact that there's that the state is providing for some of the left to costs and obligations, but we have to reflect it on our books. And so in order to be able to do that, we need to amend the budget so that the budget and what we recognize as we complete our annual financial report and include the accruals that are necessary to comply with those GASB standards. That's what's reflected in this amendment here.
And a question unrelated, somewhat unrelated. I know I've asked this before. There was a contribution rate increase. Is that correct?
Yes.
You know how much?
No.
I see.
Somebody else
out
may
there.
know.
Okay. I can find
That's
it.
something we can certainly answer for you.
And I can find it too.
Yeah.
So, was that for all state pensions or just in particular?
Each pension system, left one, left two, PERS one, PERS two, and then the teachers and the others that are all part of the state systems each have their own independent ratings. So the rate changes vary from system to system.
That's
And
why I asked if it was the same for all of them. I mean, if they all had an increase.
whether they've all had an increase or not, I can't say. Some of the systems in the past, at least in the recent past few years, have been more adequately funded than others. So I suspect as a result, there may be a system or two that didn't see an increase, but the fact that the state has traditionally increased the contributions required for the pension systems is it has happened consistently over the years. So,
Thank you.
yeah, and we certainly can get back to you on what those rate changes have been, because the state manages all those programs, and really those programs in many respects are driven by the kinds of costs the state itself incurs as it's working to provide pension for their employees as well, and our employees and their employees, such as with the PERS systems and with some of the left systems and whatnot, are commingled. And so as the state raises or lowers rates, more dealing with their own issues and needs, it impacts cities and other governments that are part of those systems as well. So
Thank you.
So moving on to non-general government, again, we've talked about some of the things where the budget's catching up. The timing for vehicle replacements, especially with some of the larger vehicles, can oftentimes be inconsistent when what the original budgets were provided for those vehicles. And that's certainly true. And I know there's been some fire apparatus replaced this year. And so again, this is the budget catching up to that. These in many cases were previously authorized, in some cases some years ago, but the equipment's just been being delivered. Improvements to CIP 1 recognize the purchase of property for the Everett Police Property Room. And again, I know that's a project you guys have
Councilmember Zoning.
talked about already.
Yeah, I guess that. Sorry, yeah, that, if I remember right, that first came up 2 or 3 years ago. I think there were concerns about the condition of that and the possibility of using the Calmback building, which did not appear to be practical. But I think this is something that sort of solves a longer term headache. And if I understand correctly, the poor condition of a police property room and custody of evidence could impair prosecutions and our justice in those cases. I think that was what was a particular vulnerability that way. Can you, any more perspective on that, Bob?
Yeah, Bob Leonard, Parks and Facilities. This $2.6 million is actually just to make up for the purchase and sale agreement that the council approved I think a couple weeks ago, last month, for the purchase of the new building for the new property room location.
And okay, that's it. That's good for that.
But yes, you are correct. The current one is in bad shape, and hence why we were looking for a better location to preserve all of the evidence and to help make a better place for them to work.
Thanks.
The next entry is the other side of something we have already talked about. That's the pre-funding of the contribution to CIP 1 from the general fund. So this recognizes the increase to the CIP 1 program from the general government. The next increase is a higher than anticipated cost for some of the street overlay programs. And so it's recognizing a need for a budget increase there to accommodate those increased costs. The working with Sound Transit to help do planning for the extension of light rail up into Everett. Sound Transit has a history of working with governments to support the pre-planning that's required, and this reflects the recognition of the contribution of dollars from Sound Transit to the city to support that planning. The HCA agreement, Healthcare Authority. This is a recognition again of a agreement that the city's already adopted in August earlier this year, and recognizes a grant award program. The next one is a criminal justice fund with respect to the police boathouse project, and again recognizing the budget aspect of that program. The city of Everett, as I understand, is responsible for accounting for a joint effort with regard to SWAT. And so this next amendment recognizes the resources that are coming from other agencies as the city's providing for those costs through our budget and our books. in cooperation with the Secret Service, U.S. Secret Service, speaking again about the security of storage, especially of electronic devices and whatnot. The next one recognizes some funding from the Secret Service to the city and some of our costs associated with providing for the safe storage of those kinds of items and evidence. Again, another grant with the support of our public safety programs here at the city is the next item. The Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs granting the city and recognizing that in our budget. The fair housing contract extension. Increase the affordable and fair housing program to recognize an extension of the completion date to June 30th. Recognizing the sales tax credits received from Washington State to reimburse some of our costs with respect to the pallet shelter program is the next item. And then following that is increasing the CDBG expenditure budget with respect to city projects and recognizing CDBG grant funds in that regard. Debt service is the next item. And again, this catches a budget up to be able to provide for payment of the limited term general obligation bonds, limited tax. So the city's budget will be able to provide for the payment of the debt service on the city's bonds. The next item is a debt service item as well. Again, the same issue. The fuel infrastructure upgrades that we talked about under general government. The next item addresses the budget with respect to the non-general government accounts for that same project. And let's see, we talked about the self-insurance programs earlier. This next item is addressing the need to increase the self-insurance budgets, again, accommodating the challenge of trying to keep up with growing costs there. And then lastly, police pension funds are being, police and fire pension funds are both being increased to accommodate costs that were higher than originally planned in the original 2025 budget. So attempted to run through those quickly, but yet leave time for questions. I'd be glad to answer if there's any other.
I'll just make a comment. This is something we do every year, and a lot of this is an allocate. More of these projects are more allocation shifts and not like a tax increase, just for those who might be watching. Any questions or comments from council members here? Okay, hearing none. The final reading will be December 10th. Thank you for only being here for 2 weeks and being in to fill in the spaces. So we really appreciate that. So. All right, so we'll move on. We'll move on to action item number 32. Council Bill 2510-62, third and final reading, adopt an ordinance relating to business and occupational tax, adopting the new revisions of the model B&O tax ordinance incorporating Senate Bill 5814 changes relating to retail sales and amending EMC 3.24.030. Do I have a motion?
So move the motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Clerk, you have, who've got those? Okay. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Vader,
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely,
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse,
Yes.
Councilmember Tui,
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo,
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes, and then we will take an executive session for 15 minutes. Potential action to follow. Okay, we have returned from our executive session and we do have action to follow. So I'll send it to Deputy City Attorney Ramsey Rammerman.
Thank you. We're asking that the council authorize the city to file declaratory judgment action regarding the disclosability of the flock camera images.
Move to authorize that action.
Second the motion.
Okay, motion and second's been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bader,
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely,
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes, and with no further action. Yeah, okay,
Just for
point
the-
of order.
For the
Councilmember
public,
Bader.
for the public's information, Everett City Council is not meeting Wednesday, November 26th before Thanksgiving, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much for the announcement. I appreciate it. And with any other announcements, with no further action, meeting's adjourned.